Siman Aleph, Sa'if Aleph, Beis Shmuel, Sif Cotton Aleph. The Mechaber brought down the halacha, Chayav Kol Adam Lisa Isha Midoiraisa, a person is obligated in the mitzvah of Priya Ravia to get married and to bring children into the world. The Beis Shmuel quotes the Rambam, who will say that effectively that a person who has a mitzvah, Deiraisa, She'en Zman Kvur, that doesn't have an established set time when it needs to be fulfilled. It's a non-time bound mitzvah. But it's a mitzvah that has to be fulfilled over a person's lifetime. Then any delay that the person delays that fulfillment of the mitzvah is tantamount to the bittul of that mitzvah. So in the context of Priya Ravia, a person has the obligation over his lifetime to fulfill this mitzvah d'oraisa. We paskin like Beis Hillel that it means, at a minimum, it means bringing into the world one male child and one female child. And till the person has fulfilled that obligation, he needs to take every opportunity to fulfill that mitzvah. Including, so therefore every oina, he has to be boil his wife until he's fulfilled the mitzvah of Priya Ravia. Later on the Beis Shmuel will deal with the extension mitzvah of La'erav al Tanach. After a person has fulfilled the basic mitzvah, what are his obligations? But till he's fulfilled the mitzvah of Priya Ravia midoraisa, according to the Rambam, which the Beis Shmuel quotes over here, he has to take every opportunity in order to try and fulfill that mitzvah. We'll see inside. Chayav kol adam lisa isha, a person is obligated to get married. V'chayav livel b'chol oina. The Rambam says that a person is obligated to be boil his wife at every opportunity, every oina. Afilu shehirshas es baila, even if she gives permission to her husband to refrain from tashmish during a particular oina. It's not, even though oina is considered a right of the wife, in the ksuba it's one of the obligations that a husband gives to a wife, and it's one of her rights. Nonetheless, she doesn't have, until the husband has fulfilled the mitzvah of Priya Ravia, the wife does not have the ability to forgive an oina, and the husband is chayav to fulfill the oina, even if he has his wife's permission to refrain. Even if sheyimna inasa, that he'll refrain from fulfilling that oina. Chayav livel, nevertheless, even with her permission, he is obligated to be boil her. B'chol oina, every oina, ad sheyiyeh le'banim, banim, until he's fulfilled the mitzvah of having children, bringing children into the world. Kein Kosav Rambam, Perek Tes, Hilchas Ishus. This is what the Rambam writes in Perek Tes, Hilchas Ishus, Halacha Aleph. V'chein Isa Lekaman, Siman Ayin Vav, and we'll see later on in Siman Ayin Vav, Sa'if Vav, that the Mechaber will quote this Rambam, that the woman cannot give up her oina. Umashma achre sheyiyeh loy banim. It's mashma, says the Beis Shmuel from the Rambam, that after they do have children, after the couple have children and they fulfilled, the husband has fulfilled his chiyuv of Priya Ravia, mahani reshus shela, then she's allowed to give her reshus. She's allowed to say, okay, this oina I'll forgo. Then it ceases to be the husband's obligation of Priya Ravia, and it becomes the woman's right, and since it's her right, she's also allowed to forgo that right. Even if the couple are capable of having more children, since they fulfilled the minimum requirement of Priya Ravia, a male and a female child, she is allowed to forgive her oina. So the Beis Shmuel says, I don't know where the Rambam is taking this, how he differentiates between when a person has been fulfilled the mitzvah of Priya Ravia and a case of when a person has not yet fulfilled the mitzvah of Priya Revi'ah. In the case of where the person has not yet fulfilled the mitzvah of Priya Revi'ah, the wife is not allowed to forego her oina. But in the case where a person has been mekayim the mitzvah of Priya Revi'ah, then a wife is allowed to. That differentiation, which is mashma from the Rambam, the Beis Shmuel says, I'm not sure where the Rambam derived that differentiation from. That the mahani mechila shela achar akiyum Priya Revi'ah, that her mechila helps after Priya Revi'ah. V'lo mahani kodim shekim Priya Revi'ah, but it doesn't help before the husband has been mekayim the mitzvah. Daha afilu im kayim Priya Revi'ah mikol makam chayim le'erev al tanach yodecha. The problem is that yes, there's no chiyuv. The husband has fulfilled his obligation for Priya Revi'ah, but he still has a secondary obligation of la'erev al tanach yodecha. This is a pasuk in Koheles that says that you should still sow your seed even in the evening, even to the waning years when a person is aging. He should still try and bring children into the world. And there's somewhat of a machloikas amongst the Rishonim to understand exactly what the gather of this mitzvah of la'erev al tanach yodecha is. Is it an extension of Priya Revi'ah and born out of Priya Revi'ah? So since a person has a chiyuv midoraisa to bring children into this world, so as an extension of that, it doesn't matter how many children you bring in the world. The more you bring in to the world, the more you extend that. Or is it a separate type of mitzvah midivrei seifrim? But either case, however you view la'erev al tanach yodecha, why would the woman have a right to forgive her husband's obligation to fulfill la'erev al tanach yodecha, even if it's midivrei seifrim, even if it's midrabanan? Still, there's a chiyuv. So in other words, we said that by the mitzvah deiraisa of Priya Revi'ah, the woman has no right to forgive. You can't go to somebody else and say, you know what, I think you don't have to put on tefillin today. I forgive you. I let you, give you permission not to put on tefillin. The Eibishter in the Torah says that you have to put on tefillin, so the person has to put on tefillin. And the person has to be mekayim the mitzvah of Priya Revi'ah, and therefore a woman can't say, it's okay, I'll let you off the hook. The person has to be mekayim the mitzvah of Priya Revi'ah. So that's midoraisa. Clearly that's the case. But why would she have the ability to let her husband off the hook for the mitzvah of le'erev al tanach yodecha? So, afal gav dekosafti b'samuch, says the Beis Shmuel, even though I'll write shortly that mitzvah la'erev ein ele midrabanan, that according to the Beis Shmuel, he maintains that la'erev is only midrabanan. Still, how could she forgive or let her husband off the hook when it comes to fulfilling a mitzvah midrabanan? So where did the Rambam get, so the central question the Beis Shmuel is asking is, where did the Rambam get this differentiation that she is not allowed to forgive her husband oina, or forgo her oina, if her husband hasn't been mekayim the mitzvah deraisa of Priya Revi'ah, but yes, she is allowed to forgive for if the husband has been mekayim the erev al tanach. What's the source of this halacha? Verisa b'magid. So the Magid Mishnah says shekosav sham delamed Rambam misugi perek afal pi, that the Rambam learnt it from the Gemara in Ksuvas daf samach aleph amid beis, where the Gemara says the miboyle b'shas al masnisin detana hatalmidim yotzim shelei b'rishus lamed yom b'rishus kama. Over there, the Mishnah is dealing with the case of Talmidei Chachamim who wish to go and learn Torah from their teachers. They're allowed to leave their spouses, they're allowed to leave their wives and go and learn for up to 30 days, even though 30 days will contain within it a number of oinas. The Talmidei Chachamim will contain 4 oinas every Shabbos. Every Friday night will be an oina. Nonetheless, they're allowed to go to study Torah. They are exempt from the oina for studying Torah for up to 30 days. And that's if they haven't received the permission of their spouses. However, if they, that's what the Mishnah says. So the Gemara asks, okay, that's if they haven't received permission, then the the Mishnah allows them to go for up to 30 days. But what if they did receive their spouse's permission to go and learn Torah? How long could they go? And the Gemara answers that if they have received their wife's permission, then they can go for as long as they wish. Shma mina reshus mahani. So here you see a case where the spouse giving reshus is effective to skip an oina. So now we have a source for her reshus being effective. Asks the Beis Shmuel, if so then, we should allow, even if he hasn't been mekayim the mitzvah of Priya Revi'ah. Let's say he hasn't been mekayim the deraisa mitzvah of Priya Revi'ah. According to this Mishnah, as long as she gives reshus, he could travel to study Torah for as long as he wants. So obviously, says the Beis Shmuel, you cannot say that the sugya in Afal Pi is dealing with the mitzvah of Priya Revi'ah. That the person hasn't been mekayim Priya Revi'ah. He must have been mekayim Priya Revi'ah. So therefore, the question now arises, once you've established the fact that Mishnah must be speaking about a case where the person's already been mekayim the mitzvah of Priya Revi'ah. Otherwise, as I said before, according to the Rambam, you would have to take every opportunity to be mekayim a mitzvah deraisa that you haven't yet been mekayim, and if you're not, you mevatel that mitzvah. So obviously we have to say that Gemara is talking about the person who has been mekayim the mitzvah of Priya Revi'ah. If that's the case, then he only has the obligation of le'erev al tanach, and if he has the obligation of le'erev al tanach, then there too the person should be obligated to keep every oina and fulfill the mitzvah of le'erev al tanach. So dil ma'ayri du mekayim le'erev al tanach b'makam shehelech. So the Beis Shmuel answers that it must be speaking about a scenario where he could be mekayim the mitzvah of le'erev al tanach in the city that he's going to study. Some Amoraim had the minhag, some Tanoim and Amoraim had the minhag that when they would go and study in another city, they would have kiddushin. They would do kiddushin, chuppah v'kiddushin, with a wife in that city. So in their primary city where they lived, they would have a wife. They would then move to another city for an extended period of time, for whatever the reason was. And when they were in that other city, they would take a secondary wife. They would take a second wife, and that second wife would then be the vehicle through which they could possibly fulfill the mitzvah of the Erev al Tanach. And so therefore, since the husband will still be mekayim the mitzvah of the Erev al Tanach, he'll certainly be able to she'll be able to be meichel her particular oina, because then the oina becomes exclusively the right of the original wife in his home city, and she's not preventing him from fulfilling the mitzvah of le'erev al tanach. In that case, she could be meichel her oina.